bring in Mac Robinson, and he's with the Hurry Up, and we're gonna talk some NBA hoops. There he is. Hello, Matt. How are you, Mac? How you doing?
I'm good, Les. How are you?
Great. Jeff Schudel is with us.
Hey, Mac.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All right.
I'm doing well.
Start defending yourselves. We older guys don't like what's happening in our NBA, or it used to be our NBA. Tell me what you like about it, and what the heck hit us over this weekend.
I mean, it was a freight train of NBA moves that were coming. I mean, honestly, the reason why I like it is because it keeps things fresh in the NBA. Obviously, you saw the Golden State Warriors dominate over the last 3 years, but now you see the kind of shift in balance trying to enter back into the NBA. And you start to see some of these stars like Jimmy-Butler going to Miami. You see Kawhi Leonard kind of up in the air right now, but at the same time, you end up seeing a lot of these free agents that have really started to move into different spots and really balance out the league.
All right, we're putting up some stuff on the screen right here where you got the key moves. Kevin-Durant and Kyrie-Irving go to the Nets. Warriors acquire D'Angelo Russell in a sign and trade with the Nets. Kemba-Walker goes to the Celtics. Al-Horford from the Celtics joins the 76ers, and the Heat finalizing that sign and trade for Jimmy-Butler. Well, that's all well and good, but what about us Middle America teams and the fact that there's no way that we can ever compete if we're Cavaliers, right, Jeff?
How do you sell your fan base if you're the Phoenix Suns, the Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, Sacramento Kings, and you could go on and on. Charlotte, I don't know how good they're going to be now. They lost Kemba-Walker. So what do you say about that?
Well, honestly, I think that Phoenix is in an interesting position because you see that they've drafted well. They've drafted Devin Booker. They've drafted DeAndre Ayton. Now you see them kind of bringing in some of these younger players as well. And then on top of that, you see them adding a Ricky Rubio to add that veteran leadership. I think that for the Middle American teams, I almost look at it in the same way of baseball, where now you end up seeing a lot of these different players that might be looking at bigger markets, but comparatively, you end up seeing these smaller market teams having to trade, try to see if they can get younger players, draft picks as well, and try to build up through there to make themselves look like an attractive destination. I mean, look at Milwaukee right now. I mean, being able to sign Chris Middleton after picking him up off the scrap heap. And then on top of that, too, you have them bring in Brooke Lopez, Robin Lopez as well. They're a destination with Giannis in town.
Yeah, but even Chicago, even Dallas, the great American cities, Detroit, I guess Middle America is the way of saying it, and we'll include Denver as a Middle America team. It'll take years for them. If they do everything right, it'll take years and years and years to even come close. That's if you get everything right. I think the Cavaliers are in that situation now.
It took Brooklyn. Brooklyn is now going to be a relevant team. I mean, I think they made the playoffs this past season. Yes, but I mean, they were bad for a long, long time. I mean, basketball in New York, ugh. You got all those people, and the Knicks are awful.
Yeah, you always hear that you got to have the Knicks be relevant. Well, apparently you don't.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think that Brooklyn has overtaken them. Let's be honest. I mean, Brooklyn really showed that cap space is a little bit overrated. Let's be honest. I mean, you saw that the Nets have a built roster of young talent. Spencer Dinwiddie, somebody who was kind of left, like I said, in the scrap heap, picked up by the Nets, built up. And despite the fact that they hamstrung themselves with that Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trade with Brooklyn, sending away most of their first-round picks, and they still have been able to build through good drafting and through great moves by their GM, Sean Marks, as well as Kenny Atkinson, their head coach.
Hi, we're talking to Mac Robinson of the Hurry Up.
I think what bothers me is like Kevin Durant and Kyrie-Irving getting together and said, hey, where do you want to go? Should we go to Brooklyn? Whatever. That's what I think bothers me the most, rather than the big cities getting the star players.
Right. Well, you also have, just by luck of the draw, this is such a huge free agent class that it looks. I don't want to say worse than it is, but it's bigger than previous years. Am I right on that, Mac?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this free agency really has been the biggest, I think, that we've seen shift when it comes to the overall NBA landscape. Like I mentioned, Jimmy Butler heading down to Miami, Al Horford jumping ship from Boston, going down to Philly. You have
but Al Horford's not a difference maker. anymore.
I think he actually is, interestingly, on that team. I think
Okay.
that he adds a little bit of spacing and good defense. And then on top of that, too, he also can kind of give Joel Embiid a little bit of a spell to give him a little bit of less of a workload.
Where do you think Kawhi Leonard's going to go?
Honestly, it's so up in the air. Nobody understands where he's going to go. It seems like it's pointing towards the Lakers, but honestly, I've been a big fan of him going to the Clippers because I look at the Clippers in the same way that I look at the Nets going into this free agency. Because I think that they have a young team overall. They have those good role players to build around Kawhi. And not to mention, too, the fact that they have that kind of culture that I think that he really would thrive in, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't think you want to be the number 3 man with the Lakers.
Yeah.
All right, I've got 2 questions for you. One is,
Okay.
what do the Cavaliers do what do they do to somehow get themselves more relevant? And number 2, who do you have as a favorite to win the whole thing if the season started today?
I'll answer the second one first. So if I had to bet on any team, I mean, I'm going to roll with Milwaukee. They really had a good overall team, and the only team that they ran into was Kawhi Leonard. And honestly, with the dismantling of that team, I think that they can be very good coming into this year. And on top of that, too, I mean, the West is they're going to be devouring each other pretty much. And so it's a wide open NBA. And for the Cavs, I'm looking at what happens with J.R. Smith. That's going to be the only thing that I'm really watching for going forward. How can they turn that to an asset? And on top of that,
theoretically, what kind of asset can they get?
I mean, it all depends on how desperate the team is trading, honestly. It could be a couple of seconds. It could be getting a big contract back, and then you take on a first-round pick for that. It all depends on how desperate the team is to move the contract.
Don't you think he'd like to play in the playground so he could just play shirts and skins and not have his shirt on at all?
I think he'd do that any day of the week. I don't think he needs to get paid to do that.
I mean, he had to extend his contract, so to speak, or delay it, whatever word you want. I mean, I could see them just ending up cutting him and stretching that guaranteed part out. Do you think that could end up happening, or?
I think so, honestly. If they can't really get anything that's worthwhile, I think that they could just end up cutting him. But honestly, I think the extra month gives them a chance to capitalize on all of these free agent moves. If somebody needs to cut somebody, it gives them added flexibility, which the Cavs need at this point.
All right, Mac, we enjoyed it very much. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll talk to you in the near future.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Good to be here. Good to have you. Thank you, Mac. Mac Robinson of the Hurry Up.